We want to welcome back incumbent State Representative J.A. Moore, running to keep his District 15 seat. He is facing Republican challenger Latricia Pond, who we sat down with right here last month. And it's good to have you back.
It's so good to see you.
Great to see you too. And I want to start with this because this was news that just came out that Governor McMaster, he wants to make bond more stringent here in South Carolina. But you're against that. And I have to ask you why.
The main reason I'm against some of the proposals that the governor proposed is political. For him, it isn't about necessarily stopping crime or mitigating crime. It's an election season. And so I do understand that violent crime has gone up the 6 years that the governor has been in office. I mean, he has to own that. But what he's talking about is all these changes that he's proposing is a legislative change that needs to happen. So it's stuff that we need to address, and I understand that, but it's not me being soft on crime, it's me understanding, secondly, that people have due process. And if a person isn't convicted of a crime, they must be allowed bail. What we can't do, in my opinion, is start eroding our rights. What makes this country different than anywhere else in the world is our Constitution and our rights as citizens of this great country. And so that's my main issue. I mean, everyone has the right to bail. Everyone has the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. There are things that we can do that I believe that are more effective long-term solutions to mitigating crime. Well, we got to invest in our education system. There's a direct link between crime and lack of education and lack of people being poured into when they're younger. We need to do a lot more with investing in nonprofit organizations. We need to do a lot more of holding, kind of uplifting the community. It's all of our responsibility to make sure crime goes down. But if we try to do something, a knee-jerk reactionary measure to deal with crime, is only going to be just a Band-Aid on a war wound.
Well, I don't think anyone can argue with that. I don't think anyone can argue with the fact that education needs to be better here in South Carolina. Now, your District 15 has been redistricted, so now you are overseeing North Charleston and Goose Creek.
That's right.
So in your 4 years now, what have you seen improved in education in your districts?
Well, I mean, one of the things that I'm proud that we did was the Health Education Act. And what that act does, I mean, it was a bipartisan act that I sponsored, wrote the legislation, and now it's the law increasing mental health awareness and wellness in our public schools. And to the governor's credit, this isn't about bashing a governor. Every year in his budget that he proposes at the State of the State is increasing funds for mental health counselors in our public schools. These are really good steps to making our education system better. Mm-hmm. You know, we often hear, one of the catalysts for me running for office 4 years ago was the death of my sister. And often we talk about, when we talk about gun violence in this state and across this country, we often hear people talk about not wanting to do anything to mitigate people that shouldn't have guns to purchase guns. The counter argument is always about mental health. So we've invested in mental health in this state. We need to do a lot more. I fought for and secured millions of dollars with the help of so many people in the legislature to secure additional millions of dollars in mental health. So I think that's one thing that we're doing right in South Carolina.
You've been so personally affected by tragedy in your life. And again, I'm so sorry about your sister. Other points of your campaign now, what people care about, not just about crime, but also the economy.
That's right.
So opportunity. What a part of your campaign are you hoping, if you were to be elected for another term, to achieve in those next 2 years?
Well, I mean, I appreciate you asking. I'm a small business owner. One of the things that I proposed it right when I got elected, is we need to start better incentivizing small business owners. One of the things that we do really, really good here in South Carolina, we're open for business, but it's these large corporations come in. We give them tax credits that are front-loaded. First 10, 15-year front-loaded tax credit. And a lot of times what these large corporations do is they invest those first 10 to 15 years, maybe in 20 years, and then you see a lot of them leaving South Carolina. What I believe we need to do is we need to make sure that some of these tax credits are kind of loaded towards the middle and kind of a longer term. And we also need to give more incentives for small business entrepreneurship. It's something I'm passionate about. We need to invest in entrepreneurs, veteran-owned entrepreneurs, women-owned.
Not raise taxes.
No, I don't know. I tell you, I'm a business owner,
yes,
and I'm a taxpayer. I don't think we need to raise taxes. The truth is that South Carolina, since I've been elected, we've enjoyed a surplus in the budget every year. So the answer isn't raising taxes. The answer is how we allocate funds. What we haven't done a good job in the state of doing is properly funding departments like mental health, DHEC, education. I can go on and on and on. Department of Agriculture. We need to better fund some of these programs. A lot of them were not funded properly since the Great Recession in 2009.
And finally, Representative Moore, for people who want to follow you as we head closer to November 8th, if you're going to be holding any events, where do people go to find out more?
So you go to J.A. Moore, so JAMOORE 4SC.com. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram at JAMoore4SC15. And I am doing a big Get Out the Vote rally on October the 29th at Howard's Barbershop in Goose Creek, South Carolina. Candy and barbecue and a DJ. It's going to be a multicultural group of people there supporting the vision for District 15 for 2 more years.
Representative, thank you so much.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you too. We're back in 2 minutes.